Have you ever wondered how one man could be both hailed as a hero and reviled as a dictator? Today we're delving deep into the presidency of Ferdinand Marcos Sr. This president, is a figure who continues to provoke intense debate and polarizing opinions, even decades after his reign. Some see him as a visionary leader who transformed the Philippines through his economic policies and infrastructure projects. Yet others remember him as the man who imposed martial law, leading to countless human rights abuses. Over the next several minutes, we'll be navigating these contentious waters, exploring both the accolades he earned and the atrocities he allegedly committed. We'll be dissecting his economic strategies, marveling at his infrastructure achievements, and delving into the dark years of martial law and human rights violations. So, buckle up as we journey through the complex legacy of Ferdinand Marcos Sr. First off, Marcos's economic policies. They were a blend of success and failure. Now, let's dive in and dissect this blend, shall we? In the early years of Marcos's reign as president, the Philippines saw a significant economic growth. The gross domestic product, or GDP, grew at an average annual rate of almost 6%. This was higher than the average for the previous 2 decades. In tandem with this growth, the country also witnessed a rapid industrialization. Marcos pushed for the establishment of heavy industries in steel, petrochemicals, and assembly-type electronics. His efforts led to the birth of a more diverse and self-reliant industrial sector. But as the saying goes, all that glitters is not gold. This glittering period of growth and industrialization was not to last. As we transition to the latter years of Marcos's rule, we see a different, more troubling narrative. In the late 70s and throughout the 80s, the Philippine economy took a sharp nosedive. The GDP growth rate plummeted and the country was plunged into recession. The industrial sector, once a beacon of progress, was now struggling under the weight of a lack of raw materials and a shortage of foreign exchange. Worse yet, the country's foreign debt skyrocketed. From only $2 billion at the start of Marcos's term, it ballooned to a staggering $28 billion by the end of his rule. This increase in debt was due to Marcos's policy of borrowing heavily from international lenders. The borrowed money was often mismanaged, resulting in a debt crisis that the country is still grappling with today. So while there were periods of economic growth, the overall picture is one of economic instability and debt. It's a tale of 2 halves, really. A promising start followed by a catastrophic finish. But as we peel back the layers of Marcos's economic policies, we see that the story is not just black or white. It's a blend of successes and failures, of growth and decline, of hope and despair, and that's what makes it so fascinating. Now let's turn to Marcos's infrastructure projects, which are still visible today. During his time in office, Marcos initiated several significant infrastructure projects, which have undeniably contributed to the development of the country. In the realm of transportation, Marcos oversaw the construction of thousands of kilometers of roads and bridges, connecting remote areas with the more urbanized regions. This boost in connectivity not only facilitated trade and commerce, but also brought about social integration, fostering a sense of unity among the diverse communities of the Philippines. Moving on to health and education, Marcos also prioritized the construction of hospitals and schools. Hospitals were built across the country, providing essential healthcare services to the Filipino people. This resulted in improved public health and increased life expectancy. On the educational front, schools were established in even the most remote corners of the country. This widespread access to education has played a pivotal role in the intellectual development of the nation, building a strong foundation for the future. In terms of energy, Marcos spearheaded the establishment of power plants, including the Bataan nuclear power plant, which, despite its controversial nature, marked a significant stride towards energy independence. And let's not forget the San Juanico Bridge, the longest bridge in the country, which stands as a testament to Marcos's ambition. This architectural marvel not only serves a functional purpose, but also symbolizes the potential of human ingenuity. These infrastructure projects, whether they relate to transportation, health, education, or energy, have undeniably had a lasting impact on the Philippines. They have improved the quality of life, fostered economic growth, and shaped the nation's identity. But as with all things, they come with a price tag. Indeed, many of these projects have had lasting impacts, but at what cost? These achievements, monumental as they may be, were not without their controversies and criticisms. But that's a topic for another time. For now, let's acknowledge the undeniable. Marcos's era was a time of significant infrastructure development. Perhaps the most contentious aspect of Marcos's presidency was the declaration of martial law. Martial law was, in essence, a period of emergency rule that Marcos initiated in September of 1972. The official reasoning behind this drastic measure: to combat the rising threat of communism, as well as to suppress civil and political unrest that was brewing across the country. But beneath this facade of national security, a more sinister reality was taking shape. During this time, the Constitution was suspended, Congress was dissolved, and Marcos ruled by decree, consolidating power in his hands. In effect, this marked the end of democratic governance and the onset of a dictatorship. But what did this mean for the Filipino people? What was the human toll of this period of martial law? The numbers are chilling. It is estimated that over 70,000 individuals were imprisoned and 34,000 were tortured. The Commission on Human Rights of the Philippines reports that approximately 3,400 were killed during this period. These figures, however stark, only provide a glimpse into the depth of human rights abuses that occurred. But perhaps the most insidious impact of martial law was on freedom of speech. The media was heavily censored, and any form of dissent was swiftly silenced. This created an environment of fear and repression, where the fundamental rights of the Filipino people were trampled upon. But why does this matter today? Because it's a stark reminder of the price we pay when power is unchecked. It's a lesson in the importance of democracy, of checks and balances, of holding our leaders accountable. The declaration of martial law under Marcos was not just a political maneuver, it was a systematic assault on the democratic principles that form the bedrock of our society. It was a time when fear ruled, when voices were silenced, when human rights were disregarded. It's essential to remember that these are not just numbers or statistics. They represent people, mothers, fathers, sons, daughters, who suffered, who were silenced, who lost their lives. They represent a nation that was robbed of its voice, its freedom, its democracy. The impact of martial law reverberates even today in the collective memory of the Filipino people. It's a wound that time has not fully healed, a scar that serves as a reminder of a dark period in Philippine history. For those who lived through this era, the memories are a painful echo of a past that they would rather forget. For the younger generation, it's a chapter of history that they must understand and learn from to ensure that such abuses of power are never repeated. This dark period in Philippine history is a stark reminder of the dangers of absolute power. Ferdinand Marcos Sr. was a complex figure with a presidency marked by both progress and oppression. As we wrap up our discussion, let's take a moment to revisit the key points we've covered. In the early stages of his presidency, Marcos initiated economic policies that led to an initial period of growth. However, this progress was short-lived. In the later years of his rule, the economy experienced a collapse, plunging the nation into a period of hardship and uncertainty. His economic policies, thus, were a mixed bag of success and failure. Turning our attention to infrastructure, Marcos was indeed a driving force behind numerous projects. His administration saw the construction of roads, bridges, schools, hospitals, and other public facilities that have significantly contributed to the country's development. These infrastructure achievements are still evident today, serving as a testament to the tangible progress made during his time in office. However, no discussion about Marcos can be complete without addressing the dark period of martial law. This era was marked by widespread human rights abuses, including unlawful detentions, torture, and extrajudicial killings. The fear and oppression that defined this time have left deep scars on the nation's psyche, making it one of the most contentious aspects of his presidency. In conclusion, the legacy of Ferdinand Marcos Sr. is one of contrasts. A tapestry of economic highs and lows, infrastructure development, and human rights abuses. The polarized views on his presidency continue to stir passionate debates, reflecting the complexity of his leadership. In the end, whether you view him as a hero who modernized the Philippines or as a dictator who ruled with an iron fist, there's no denying that Ferdinand Marcos Sr. left an indelible mark on the Philippines. His story serves as a compelling reminder of how power can both build and destroy, and the importance of learning from our past to shape a better future. Subscribe for more amazing content and keep wondering. Don't miss out on future explorations and discoveries. Hit subscribe and ring the bell to stay updated with our new content. Your journey of wonder continues with every video. Stay connected and engaged on social media. Continue the conversation, follow us. Thank you for being a part of the Have You Ever Wondered community. Keep wondering, keep discovering. Until next time.